Our world is a mere speck in the vast cosmos, and for most of us, space remains uncharted territory unless you're rocketing with astronauts or pals with Elon Musk. Nonetheless, scientists have ventured into imagining life beyond Earth. Dive with us into envisioning existence on distant planets. Number 8. Mars. Similar in size to Earth, the red planet has discernible seasons and average temperatures ranging from -195 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. While NASA thinks a Mars landing is within reach, they do acknowledge that the planet's deadly levels of radiation, elevated levels of CO2, and nearly constant dust storms would be difficult to overcome with an atmosphere, just 1%. The thickness of Mars doesn't have much in the way of protection, but it's just enough to lend its sky a bit of color. As the sun first crosses the horizon, the planet's sky is the deep royal blue. As the sun moves westward, that blue slowly slides towards a pinkish-red hue. For a moment, at midday, the sky will be the color of fresh lager minus the sides. Anytime after that, however, the sky is a mixture of red and burnt orange. As the planet lacks clouds, every night offers a clear view of the stars. You have a tough time letting out an audible wow of admiration when it came to those clear skies. However, Mars' thin atmosphere makes for a poor conductor of sideways and reduces even the most poignant plea to a whisper. When scientists turn their electromagnetic tools towards Mars, it spits back this. Reminds me of the soundtrack to an old Western flag. Number 7. Venus. With surface temperatures averaging around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Venus is the hottest planet in the Milky Way, and much like its namesake, the Roman goddess of beauty. It's a real stunner, but it's also under constant assault from volcanic eruptions and acid rain. Even imagining survival on this hellish planet is beyond NASA's capabilities. Venus's thick, heavy atmosphere means every movement you make would feel like you're 3,000 feet under the sea, and if you could lift your head, you'd be greeted by a sky, the color of a clementine, due to the planet's heavy cloud cover. However, you'd never get to see the stars. The sun, meanwhile, would only be visible when the atmosphere is at its thinnest. So, while sound would be muffled due to its very thick atmosphere, it would be audible, which means unlike on Mercury, you wouldn't be stuck on a planet of mimes. While Mercury sounds like a rocket blasting off, Venus sounds more like Saturn's version of the Gong Show. Just take a listen. Number 6. Mercury. Mercury isn't only the closest planet to the Sun, it's also the smallest one in our solar system. With temperatures ranging from -195 to 800 degrees Fahrenheit and nearly constant meteorite impacts, it'd be a hard place to live. Since the Sun is 250% larger than Mercury's sky than on Earth, looking up for Mercury's surface would require some heavy-duty sunglasses. However, as there's no atmosphere, there's nothing to bring color into that brightly lit night sky, which means that most of the sky is an unobstructed view of space, as is the case. Then most of space, nobody can hear you scream. And that's doubly true on a planet like Mercury. But if you could hear electromagnetic waves, our galaxy would be a very noisy place, and good old NASA developed a probe to help us do just that. By converting electromagnetic vibrations from celestial bodies into sound waves, they made the chatter of space into something audible. The tone, volume, and pitch of these sounds are affected by a planet's size, speed, and composition. When pointed at Mercury, the probe sent back this. Number 5. Jupiter's moon Europa. First things first, you couldn't live on Jupiter. The planet is not only a hotbed of storms, but made almost entirely of gas. But scientists think that one of its moons, Europa, might be a good place for human life with low radiation, substantial amounts of liquid water, and ample geological stability. Europa would be a great stepping stone into the galaxy. The sky on Europa would be a wondrous thing to look at. Jupiter would always be visible and take up more than 20 times the space of our moon. Occasionally, the settlers would be able to glance at one of the gas giant's other 59 moons as they swirl about the stormy planet with a gravitational pull equivalent to our moon. Europa has no real atmosphere to speak of. Therefore, like Mercury, the sky would be little more than a panorama of space, even though sound would travel poorly through Europa's thin atmosphere. Settlers might occasionally hear thunder coming off Jupiter's big red spot for the most part. However, this moon would leave us forever trapped in a game of charades. When the NASA Voyager flew by Jupiter and its moons, it captured this. Why the heck does space sound so creepy? Number 4. Saturn's moon Titan. Because of its rings, people consider Saturn the jewel of our solar system, but like Jupiter, there's no way we could live on it. The planet's largest moon Titan is a different story. However, the only moon in the Milky Way with a dense atmosphere and adequate cloud cover its prime for human settlement because its surface is free of storms and cyclones. Titan is also a wonderful place for sky gazing. Looking up from one of its many hills would reveal a sky perpetually covered in a tangerine haze through squinted eyes. Saturn and his rings would loom heavy on the horizon because of its soupy atmosphere. Though you'd be hard-pressed to see much of anything else, since sound waves have lots of stuff to bounce off on Titan, it'd be a very noisy place because this moon's atmosphere is about 4 times denser than ours. Any noise made on it would be downright alien. When electromagnetic rays from this supermoon are converted into sound waves, you get something that sounds like this. Number 3. Uranus moon Miranda. Let's talk about Uranus, or one of its moons at least, while a few of the planet's 27 moons would be suitable for settlement. NASA scientists agree that Miranda is one of the better options while it's bone-numbingly cold, averaging around -300 degrees Fahrenheit. Miranda's jigsaw landscape is ripe for exploration. This moon's lack of gravity means that there's no atmosphere to speak of, and any would-be settler would find him or herself bombarded by constant radiation. The skies of Miranda, much like Europa, would be clear of clouds in the color of freshly laid tar. While travelers might be able to see Uranus, the sun would be nothing more than a bright down on the horizon when it comes to communicating. The lack of an atmosphere means we're back to playing charades. As for electromagnetic frequencies, however, Uranus itself sounds like this. I was kind of hoping it'd be flatulence, darn. Number 2. Neptune's moon Triton. As another gas planet, Neptune doesn't have much of a surface to speak of, but its largest moon Triton could be a potential if not dangerous site for human settlement, with average temperatures of nearly -400 degrees Fahrenheit. It's also the coldest object in the Milky Way. While Triton's atmosphere is thicker than some others on this list, it's still not enough to color the sky. While the area closest to the horizon might appear to be covered in a whitish haze, the rest of the sky would be a deep ebony. Against that nearly uninterrupted backdrop of space, Neptune would loom in the sky at a size 10 times larger than our moon. While there's something for sound to travel through on Triton, it's not dense enough to conduct anything but the loudest of noises, so we'd be stuck in a perpetual shouting match. Though the moon's surface might be quiet, its electromagnetic activity is something else. To be honest, you'll have a tough time characterizing it. Just listen. Number 1. Pluto. Taking roughly 248 years to make one revolution around the Sun. Pluto is a frigid, unforgiving planet, aside from the fact that you'd face radiation and deadly temperatures. We don't know much about this planet beyond what was discovered by NASA's New Horizon, which means it's one of the places scientists are most excited to learn more about. The skies of Pluto would differ depending on when you visit it. When the dwarf planet was close to the Sun, the frozen gases in its atmosphere would thaw and give rise to a thin blue haze. As the planet retreated from the Sun's rays, the gases around it would refreeze and leave onlookers with nothing but dark skies. Regardless of the time of year, the Sun would be little more than a dot on the horizon. Due to its flimsy atmosphere, Pluto would be a planet of maddening silence. Since that stopped you from hearing the constant chattering of your teeth, you might think that's a blessing. Probes turned towards the planet have detected noises not unlike a helium-sucking tuning fork. Close your eyes and tell me this doesn't remind you of choir class. So, is there a particular moon or planet you'd love to visit one day? Or did one of those electromagnetic recordings also send shivers down your spine? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching.